Only 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and touching Bowser in every single Mario game. So today, I'm going to be touching Bowser in every single Mario game, even if it means I have to go through the 5 stages of grief. Starting off with the original Super Mario Bros., I thought I was gonna actually have to use the warps and beat the game to touch Bowser, but boy was I wrong. All I had to do was make my way through 1-1, power up in 1-2, die in 1-3, and then once I got the 1-4, I touched Bowser. Now wait a minute, it looks like Peach is in another castle. Hopefully I don't have to try to save Peach for another 30 seconds. And on to Super Mario Bros. In the mid levels, which is very similar to its predecessor, with the only difference being that this game actually added this new power up. Bowser will once again be waiting for us at the end of each world, so all we need to do is beat the first 3 levels, and once we get to the end of 1-4, we're able to touch him once more. Next up, we got Super Mario Bros. 2. Oh wait, they decided to put this bozo in the game. So instead we're gonna play Super Mario Land. Oh wait a minute, Bowser isn't in that game either. That's okay, we'll just play Super Mario Land 2. Oh wait a minute, Wario is the final boss. On to Super Mario Bros. 3, a game that not only has Bowser in it, but a game that served as one of my very first experiences with the Mario franchise. At the ripe age of 4 years old, I would watch my mom play through the game for the first time, and throughout my childhood, she would touch Bowser on numerous occasions, but this time, I would be the one to touch Bowser. So starting off in World 1, I pulled from a few tricks that I had up my sleeve, such as getting this secret warp whistle in 1-3, and then using a Tanuki suit in 1 Fortress to get this other warp whistle. This makes it so that we can use a warp whistle inside of the warp whistle area, allowing us to go straight to World 8. Now World 8 was quite the challenge for me, so you know, I might have done a little bit of save stating on these auto-scroller airship levels, because I was not trying to sit through all of them all over again, but after the airship levels, it was surprisingly not too bad, other than getting a hand here and being chased by the sun. But once I got to the final castle, I let Bowser sit on me. Now similar to Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World also includes the Koopalings, meaning that we're going to have to utilize warps so that we can make our way all the way to World 8. Now I'm fully aware that in these old games, there are, other techniques to get to the end of the game, but I'm not trying to touch the credits, I'm trying to touch Bowser. So I made my way through the first few levels relatively quickly before entering the castle and struggling on this fight, despite it being the 3rd time I fought this goober in the last 30 days. Then in World 2, I got the cape in this level so I could fly my way up to this area and take the secret exit. After that, I beat the following secret levels so I could make my way to the Star World. Since I had the cape for most of the Star World, I was able to quickly make my way through the 4 levels I needed to beat and was able to teleport straight to Bowser's castle. Thankfully, I researched the path that I'm supposed to take to navigate the castle, and I touched Bowser. Next up was SM64, a game that I actually have some speedrunning experience in, and by experience I mean I could do a 16-star run in under 20 minutes, which is something that about 2,000 other people have done, but you know what, it doesn't matter what my placement is, because I booted up a new file, nailed Lakitu Skip and Bomb Clip, and then I made my way over to Womp's Fortress so I could get some quick stars. Among these stars, there's one that you can get by using this cannon here, but to bypass that, I did the infamous trick Cannonless, which as the name entails, allows for me to clip into the wall and grab the star without actually using the cannon. At this point, I had 6 stars, and I only needed 8 to enter Dark World and touch Bowser, so I made my way over to Cool Mountain to grab these 2 quick stars. After that, I unlocked the door to Dark World, quickly made my way through the level, and touched the beloved polygon-shaped Bowser. On to the first installment of the new Super Mario Bros. Franchise, and we are met with a pretty easy trip to Bowser, as all we have to do is beat the first few levels, which includes this goofy level, and then upon arriving at one castle, you're able to touch Bowser. Now things get real with Super Mario Galaxy, as touching Bowser entails quite the journey. Essentially, we need to get 15 stars to unlock the first Bowser level, which is in the fountain area of the Comet Observatory, so that's what I sought out to do. That was until I realized that I actually did a speedrun of Super Mario Mario Galaxy a while back and was able to beat the entire game in 3 hours and 27 minutes using Mario, which was huge because in the same speedrun that I did, I touched Bowser and I touched him quickly. Now my speedrun started off pretty tame as I just made my way through the intro section of the game alongside Good Egg Galaxy, but in Honey Hive Galaxy, I used various skips to my advantage, such as bypassing this slope with Mario's spin mechanic or using fancy movement to get up here. After 36 minutes, I beat the terrace and I was onto the fountain where I continued to play it rather safe but still took great advantage of Mario's movement, and after an hour and 3 minutes, I touched Bowser. Now unlike New Super Mario Bros. DS, New Super Mario Bros. Wii makes it so that we cannot touch Bowser until we reach the final castle. Luckily, this game has warps, so it didn't take me too long to get to the castle, but I definitely did have my moments. Starting off with World 1, I made sure to get the propeller suit in the first level as it would make traversing through later sections of the game easier, but if I was going to hold on to this suit, I was going to have to play it safe. So that's exactly what I did as I made my way through the rest of World 1 before taking the secret exit to World 5 and 1-3. I would unfortunately lose my propeller suit to this bat, which made going up the tower in World 5 a slow process, but just because I lost my power up doesn't mean I lost my hope. That was until I made my way to World 8 where I think I just might have lost more than hope, because oh my god, I died so many goddamn times. But nothing was as bad as this airship level, which, don't get me wrong, is a very cool level, but I went all the way back to World 1 to get a propeller suit for this level just to find out that propeller suits were hiding in this fucking box the entire time. And don't get me started on Bowser Jr. and his balls. Anyways, after a solid 40 minutes, I was finally able to touch Bowser. Now Super Mario Galaxy 2 is a pretty similar situation to Galaxy 1 as we are not able to touch Bowser until the end of the second world, but this time I had even crazier tricks up my sleeve to touch Bowser. So after dying to the literal first boss of the game because my nunchuck woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood, but after that I made my way to Yoshi Star Galaxy and I would attempt a very difficult trick that if pulled off would allow for me to save a minute on the second star. Enter the Infinite Flutter. If you flutter with Yoshi and then press crouch right before the flutter ends, you are able to start another flutter, which technically speaking allows for you to infinitely flutter. Now this is a trick that anyone could pull off, but what I was trying to do was infinite flutter to this area from the beginning of the level, which is a bit harder than just a regular infinite flutter, as you need to do about 10 infinite flutters in a row while maintaining a good angle as well as good height. But when I went for the infinite flutter, I was met with despair. I would keep on failing the trick, failing harder than I've ever failed before. In fact, I failed so hard that I game overed, but I didn't give up. After minutes of trying, I would finally do it. After that, I opted to just play the rest safely, and after some time, I would touch Bowser. On to Super Mario 3D Land, which served to be one of the quickest Bowser touches yet, as all we had to do was Tanuki up in 1-1, fly through 1-2 as well as 1-3, and then from there, I was able to just traverse my way through Bowser's castle and touch him on this quirky little bridge. Now I think it's time we address the new Super Mario Bros. 2 situation. I mean, it's clearly the third installment in the franchise, so I find it rather perplexing as to why it's coined as the second game. In fact, the title of this game might have just been enough for me to not play it at all, because who would call the third game in the series the second game? That just doesn't make any sense. I decided to play anyways, and this playthrough was pretty chill as
3 hours later.
And on to New Super Mario Bros. U, where I'm positive that my disc that has no scratches on it will work. Well, that sucks. No need to fear though, because I'll just ask my good friend Mario Mikester to touch Bowser for me. And on to Super Mario 3D World, which is actually another case of me just having to go to the castle in World 1 to touch Bowser. At least that's what I thought, until I realized that Bowser is literally untouchable, which meant that my only chance of touching Bowser would once again be in World 8. Luckily, I also used to speedrun this game, so since I'm not in my prime anymore, I'll show you guys how I was able to touch Bowser in this run. And before anyone asks, this is what I looked like 3 years ago. I promise I'm not bald anymore, nor am I a child, but you know what? We're just gonna cover up a little bit. Now, similar to Super Mario Sunshine, there's a lot that goes into touching Bowser here, but since I actually know how to kind of play this game, I'll explain a few of the things that I did to make my 2-hour time possible. You'll see that I used the cat suit throughout the entire game, as well as Peach's floating ability, and this is because you are able to chain these cat moves to gain more momentum, which in turn allows for an increase in speed, as well as an increase in the distance you are able to cover. Additionally, I'll be collecting green stars throughout each of the levels, because I'll need 180 to enter the final castle in World 8, and of course I'll be taking advantage of the warps in 1-2 and 4-2. And that's cool and all, but there is one thing that I haven't mentioned, and that's this trick. Upon entering World 8, you are able to jump on this pipe here, which in turn allows for you to go all the way to World 4 and access this mystery house with 10 green stars in it. This saves loads of time because if we aren't able to do this trick, then we would have to route in 10 more green stars, which would lose minutes of time. After making my way through the rest of World 8, I'd finally touch Bowser and complete my 2-hour long speedrun. While we're on the topic of speedruns, Super Mario Odyssey is a speedrun that I'm best at, so you already know that this run to touch Bowser is about to be insane. So I booted up a new file, but before I made my way through the game, I changed the clock in the Switch settings to do a trick called DSTA, or Daylight Savings Time Abuse. Essentially, if I beat the first 2 kingdoms fast enough, then I'll be able to plant the seed in Sand Kingdom and have it instantly grow, as opposed to waiting for 20 minutes because the clock will jump from 1:59 AM to 3 AM, meaning that the game registers that an hour passed when in reality it was just daylight savings. As I made my way through Sand Kingdom, I did another trick here called platform clip. If I hang off of this wall and then slide and throw Cappy as the platform comes towards the wall, then Mario is able to get pushed out of bounds, which allows for me to not only get this moon, but access the loading zone of the Sphinx here and get this moon. After sand, I would go on to do another trick called lake clip, where I clip out of bounds here, given the wacky collision of these 2 walls, and then nab this checkpoint so I could get this moon and then access this moon early and save a few seconds. Finally, I went for one last trick in the next kingdom called nut clip, but I unfortunately failed it, causing me to lose about 30 seconds. But after I beat Wooded Kingdom, I would touch Bowser. And finally, we got Bowser's Fury, in which all we have to do is collect a few shines and then wait by the Giga Bell so that when Bowser comes, we're able to immediately touch him. Thanks for watching.